Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Thursday, the 26th of January still. So, what we've got lined up today then? Well, let's have a look at the news events first. It's mainly the US GDP. Give you that in advance, there we go. And it is the advanced GDP at 130. There's little else significant sitting in here. Let me just check my other news service for speakers this morning. Today, no speakers at all. They've all spoke themselves out. They're worn out of speaking. There is the Japanese core inflation data at 11:30 tonight, but nothing more than what you can see here for now. Okay, that's pretty much it for that. No speakers. And a gradual moving market. Let's go looking through these markets then. The euro dollar first, and as you can see, well, it's still drifting its way up. And I say drifting because it's hardly charging up. It's getting a few sort of bars that are looking half solid, but it's slow. But it's ticking up. I'm surprised it's actually even still ticking up. I thought it might go pretty sideways through to the 1st and 2nd of Feb when we get the central bank data released. So for now, it's doing well, holding up where it is. The more it consolidates around these highs, the more potential it has of eventually shoving through there. High lows, high highs, still there on the pattern there. So remain bullish on that. There's today, I mean, we haven't yet touched the pivot. The thing is, it's pretty much for most of the time untradeable for me though. It's just chopping along like this, then it'll go, or it'll drop down a little bit, then go. So the euro is not been my friend lately for finding trades, and the pound is similar-ish as it sits against the dollar. It's just the dollar pairs, I guess, some of them. I'm looking at this pound dollar this morning and thinking, well, if it catches a move back down to the pivot there, the daily pivot, perhaps there may be a buying opportunity with what we've seen. We've seen higher lows coming through. It's sort of tracking the euro pretty much. Let's push on. Looking at the dollar yen, so the dollar yen still largely selling off at the moment. In the bigger picture, of course, short term, well, it's selling off, and on the lower time frame, selling off now. This has just pipped into it, or just spiking into its pivot. It'll be interesting to see what it does from here, whether it carries on rolling to the downside. We got a short off this yesterday, but well, we'll see what we get this morning. I'm not so. It's not such a pretty sight at the moment, and I am going to be fussy. Aussie dollar, well, you don't really need to see all the time frames, but there we go. There's the daily still pushing up. The weekly still nice and solid. Bit offish this morning, but again, I'm looking at this pivot. It doesn't look like it's probably going to get hit. So it could be that we break look to see if it breaks through the R1 to the R2. It's a possible play at some stage. So that's looking positive, but I'd prefer it to come back to its pivot. Canadian dollar, the data yesterday, no increase, and didn't really do a lot of damage to the market with the suggestion that they're going to probably increase next time. Still looking data dependent, but it's still got enough in there to hold it where it is really. And looking at the higher time frame, sorry I should do that, it's just still quite ugly where it is. It's against the dollar, it's still very sticky, and most of these major pairs are difficult against the dollar. You do have to start looking at some of the cross pairs if you want some movement. Well, saying that, the euro CAD, it's pretty much following the same course. Having said that, but it has had some decent-ish moves, pushed them through yesterday. But some of the pound pairs as well, we've been trading. Pound Aussie, this looks like it could roll over again this morning. So there are some things out there, right, to have a look at. It's just a case of having your list and nipping through them. and shortlisting, which is what I do every morning when I finish here. Okay, equity markets then. Let's look at the Nikkei to start with, and let's get to a dailies on that. So close slightly, well, just like it's only fractionally down on the previous day there. So it's not a great move. It gapped up and then moved back down again, but still in that upward trend for now on the Nikkei. The Nifty 50, it's becoming quite bearish to me. Looking at it, it's the way it's rolled over here. It's just, as I said yesterday, just looking like it's got the potential for further downside. So there we go. There's my view there. S&Ps then moving to US markets. Yesterday it managed to recover. It sold off at one stage, looking a bit grim, and managed to pull it back again and move back to the weekly pivot in that case yesterday, but back up to the highs at the moment. I'm just sort of looking through here. Very much yeah, that was the first test of that weekly, and the nice bounce off of it. We're now into this sort of triple top territory. It will be interesting to see if it does break through. Dow Jones, slow and choppy, really, just not really gathering a lot of distance in terms of its movement. The highs are just again, you've got this sort of, you come down the time frames and it's just a triple top. So there you go, same picture. Nasdaq, and again, I think these equity markets, they're really waiting out next week's decision. We can get some blips in between, but Nasdaq, similar picture. A break of that 200 would look a bit more bullish. Moving closer then to the DAX, and the DAX again is still slow, but it's gradually, it's a bit like the euro really, it's gradually trying to work its way up there. Actually it's a bit more like the pound because it hasn't broken the highs recently, but it did have a decent run yesterday. Coming off a bit at the moment, still got sorry, that's today. It's had this move, isn't it? I'm on the 60-minute. So it's pushed up through the Asian session now, actually taking out yesterday's highs, and well, might still get a retrace back in towards the daily pivot there. But again, this is one that if it starts pushing through, running through that R1, it gives us the opportunity to run it up to R2. Right, that's that, and finally the FTSE. Morning in. So the FTSE, well, as you see yesterday, it did come off yesterday. Had come off at 7 o'clock candle. It came off. Struggling to get back up at the moment. It's getting there. It's just put a higher low in overall here, and just looking at a little bit more positive this morning. Okay, nothing else there. That's just sorry, I forgot to look at gold this morning. So look through gold. Largely still an upward trend yesterday. Each day, near enough each day, making new highs, gradually tripping in their higher lows. It's getting a bit on the choppy side. In other words, each new high is quickly it's coming back down away from it each time quite quickly. Whereas when it's in a decent trend, it will just move straight up or straight down. Here, it's getting a bit choppy, which, well, that again, it could be put on the fact that people are waiting for the interest rate decisions next week. And crude, get the right one. Finish off for crude here for now, and well, it's getting a bit lackluster actually. Crude, it's starting to consolidate. Well, it's consolidating. It's a bit rangy. Nothing I can do with that at the moment. Don't want to be trying to trade markets that are doing this, basically choppy, horrible markets. So best thing is to leave them until they get pretty again. On that note, prettiness, I'm going to leave you and wish you a great day's trading. Catch you later. Bye for now.